Hi, my name's Dan, and in this video I'm going to show you how to get some 3D model assets and content into your Unreal projects. So the most straightforward thing is some basic shapes, which are up here on the left-hand side in your editor. There are several tabs here. We've got lights, cinematic visual effects, etc. And under the basic tab, there's several options here, but there are some basic shapes. There's a cube, a sphere, a cylinder, a cone, and a plane. I'm just going to drag a sphere from there into my scene and adjust it. There you are. So very limited. There's no texture on that, but they are things that can use. You're going to want something a little bit more complicated than that in your scene. If you've chosen starter content, so include the starter content when you created your project, then in your content browser, which is down the bottom here, you'll have a folder called starter content. And inside that, I'm going to, so I'll just double click to get in there. I've gone to the starter content. I'm looking for the props folder, which has some objects in it. And I'm just going to drag and drop a couch in there. So it's fairly limited, the stuff that's in there. There's some props, there's some bits of buildings, and some of them are textured, some of them are not. So there we go. That's still quite limited, but it's a reasonable collection of stuff to get you started. Pretty soon you're going to want to start to get all sorts of other things to stick in your scene. So I'm going to show you some other sources of content. The first one I'm going to show you is the Epic Marketplace. So inside the Epic Games launcher, there are various tabs across the top. One of those is Marketplace. Just click on that. Hopefully my internet's working. And a lot of the content in here is paid content. Some of the prices go from, here's £200 plus, so there's a £4 one down here. But there is some free content as well. So I'm just going to look at here in the permanently free collection. I'm going to grab, scan through here. There's some movie props here that I haven't previously got. So I'm going to just click add to cart. And that's the classic shopping cart kind of system. And I'm going to click here at the top and check out some kind of message about that. It doesn't seem to have done so. Anyway, I bought that. Now I'm going to click through into here. And this has got some information about the content. I could have looked at this before I bought it if I wanted it. And what I'm looking for is this button here, which is Add to Project. So I already have a project open, as you've seen. I'm going to go looking for that. That's the project that I've got, the Visuals and Starter Contents. And then that's going to start the process of downloading that and sticking it in into my project. So I'm just going to go away and come back when that's done. So the Epic Games Launcher has done downloading the content there, and it's automatically been added to the project that I selected. So I'm just going to close that down. And we're having a look here in the contents. We've found a folder here, Hollywood Volume 3. Let's have a quick look in here. We're looking for meshes. And let's choose something. Got a structural beam. No. Let's have a stage lights. And just pull that into the scene. There we go. So easy as. One thing that I didn't mention at the start that I should have mentioned is that 3D models inside Unreal are usually called a static mesh. And when things have been named by Unreal, by Epic, they tend to have this prefix SM, which stands for static mesh. And sometimes when you're looking for content is inside folders called meshes or static meshes. That's the name they use for 3D models. Right, so the next thing I'm going to show you is also from the Epic Games launcher. There are some full projects that are available for free that you can download and you can take assets out of. So I'm just going to go to the Learned tab, which is where these free projects are. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to try this ArchViz interior. There are all sorts of projects here with all sorts of different emphases. So let's click through on this one, ArchViz interior. It's free. I'm going to click on the button because that's what's implied that I need to do. And click Create Project. So that wants me to tell it where to go. And so there, ArchViz. And so that folder and create. So once again, we've got a process going on. It'll take a little while to download, so I'll come back when that's done. So the Epic Games Launcher has finished downloading our project. It's gone through the process of creating the project and has gone back to saying create project. We could create another copy if we wanted to. So the next thing we want to do is to open that project, and the way to do that is to go to the library in the Epic Games Launcher, and it has become one of the projects that shows up here. Here it is, the ArchViz interior. I'm going to double click that and get it to open up. So here we are, the project has been created and opened up in a separate editor. And we're going to steal a couple of assets from here so we can use them in our own project. So we're going to look in meshes here, and I wonder what we want. Well, let's have a quick look around. Those chairs are nice. One of those chairs. Let's highlight it. What is called dining room chair for static mesh. You can see down here. There we are. Dining room chair. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take that rug as well, so I can show you multiple assets at the same time. I'm going to right click and go to Asset Actions, Migrate, and then it shows me the objects that I'm going to be migrating. For this, I just click OK. And then it's asking for the content folder of the project that I want to move them to. So, real projects, this is the particular project and content. Here we go. Select folder, and it's content migration successfully completed. So we're going to go back to the other project. Here we are. And hopefully those assets are in. And in fact, we need to remember what the folder was called because you're going to use the same file structure as we had from the previous project, and they were inside meshes. That was my hope. They should have been there. Why has that not happened? Why have they not appeared? I don't know. So yes, it's content meshes, and meshes. They don't seem to have appeared. So what I'm going to do is I'm fairly sure that they've probably been migrated and this is just an issue with Unreal. So I'm going to close down this project, Games Launcher, reopen the project, because I don't know of any way of just refreshing that. So back to the library, back to this particular project. A very small project, so it shouldn't take long to load up. Here we go, and there they are, they've appeared. So we're going to stick in the dining chair. And actually, in this occasion, as you see, they've come without their material, so without the texture. So I could have moved the textures as well. In fact, I should have done it, but never mind. So there we go. We've got assets that we've taken from one project to another. So, of course, with the world being the way it is, uh, and the internet's a wonderful thing, there is a whole load of content out there that you can access, which is not through Epic. So we're just going to go to a browser. I've typed in here free FBX. So there are several different file formats that are available for making 3D models in. FBX is one of them. And we're going to use FBX because Unreal prefers FBX over other formats. You can import other formats. I have never tried it because so much is available through FBX, the FBX file format. So if you type in free FBX, you get in a whole load of different things that are at different places from where you could get stuff. There's TurboSquid, free 3D. Down here we've got Sketchfab, the three that I know of. We're going to go to TurboSquid. I've opened one earlier here. So this is free FBXs in TurboSquid. Um, there is paid content as well in TurboSquid, and I think we'll get this toothbrush. We'll just mouse over it and check that FBX is available here, and then that is there are currently no models in your cart. Close your cart. Details. Download. So I'm looking for the FBX version here. Clicking on that, and that just gives me the download link. Let's do that in there. I've got an assets folder, and it says it's got 6 minutes left, 7 minutes left. So I'll come back when that's done. So that's my toothbrush FBX file, fully downloaded from TurboSquid. And the next thing we need to do is to get it into the Unreal project. So I'm going to find the place where I downloaded it to. I could have downloaded it directly to the project if I wanted, but sometimes you find that assets have more than one file. So here was one that I downloaded earlier, which was in a zip file. You don't want that going directly into your project. So we've just got the toothbrush FBX there. I'm just going to highlight that and copy it. And then I'm going to navigate to my folder where my project is. So inside my projects, starter content. So inside your project folder, there will be a folder called content. And this is at the top level of the content. I can create folders in here, but I won't. I'll just paste in my toothbrush. If I go back to the project now, it's brought up a pop-up. A change to source content file has been detected. Would you like to import it? So automatically, Unreal has detected that I have placed an object into the assets, into the content file here. And it's asked me if I want this file as part of the project. So click yes, and there's various options here. I'm not going to go through the options. Generally, you're probably just going to want the standard default settings. I'm going to click import all because there might be more than one file here to import. And it's processing that. It's giving me some messages. There are some problems with the model. Yeah, we'll see how it works anyway. It's usually not the end of the day when that comes in. Right, so we're up in the content, and here actually we can see it's actually imported various objects in here. But it seems to have sub parts of the toothbrush. Have we got one that's the full toothbrush here? So we've also got some materials, toothbrush body, toothbrush body, toothbrush body, toothbrush body, toothbrush body, toothbrush body. Is that the head for it? So I have no idea which one we're here. Maybe there's several different toothbrushes. Drag that in now. This is something that often happens when you're importing things into a project. Is that it appears like it's not there. And I've not used this asset before, so I don't actually know, but the most common problem here is that actually they're imported very small. So I'm just going to scale that up. And yes, there's our toothbrush. And that's, as it rightly says, it's the toothbrush body. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to the toothbrush as a whole. Yeah. So this demonstrates that you take your chances when you're bringing in assets from elsewhere. There will be all sorts of issues that go on with that. Anyway, that's that's that asset now in our world. So the next source of assets I'm going to show you is creating your own assets. This is not for the faint-hearted, but you might want to do this yourself. So there are two or three major pieces of software that you might want to be looking at for this. So two of them are from a company called Autodesk, and they are Autodesk Maya, which you can find down here on their product site, and 3D Studio Max. It's a bit strange that two of the major programs are owned by one company, but this has happened because years ago, Autodesk, who brought out 3D Studio Max, bought the company who produced Maya, and so they have control now of two of these. And as you'll see here, if you can get an educational license, you can get free access to Maya if you want it. I'm not going to go through the process of installing it. I have it already installed on my machine. Another popular product is Blender, which looks very different from the others. It is free for everybody, and is a major piece of software. So depending on which way you want to go, you might want to go down the Blender route or the Maya route. If you used one before, then stick with what you know, I would say. So I've got Maya open here with an untitled scene in here. I'm just going to chuck a couple of models in here, some of their prefab stuff. If you're going to make your own stuff in Maya, you're going to have to look at your own tutorials and work out how you're going to do that. And basically, good luck with that, because it's never straightforward. You see, even just getting a simple model in, right click that, I'm going to choose a helix, and I'm also going to stick in a torus. So I've got two models in here. I haven't textured them. Just want to show you the exporting. So inside the file menu here, there's send to Unreal. So this is quite a useful feature of Maya, that it deliberately targets both Unity and Unreal in here. So the first thing is to set the Unreal project, and so I'm looking for that Unreal project. Let's see, we're in D Unreal stuff contents. I need to go up from there. And it would be tempting to actually select that project there, but I'm not going to, because it doesn't want the file name, it just wants the content. So not the content, the folder which contains the project, not the actual project itself. So I'm going to select that, not selected that as the default, and then I'm going to go File, Send to Unreal, All. So that's going to take everything that's in my scene and send it to Unreal. Again, it's given me some options. If you just take the default option here, it will create a folder called Import, which is not inside your content folder, and so you'll have to do some shuffling to get that in the right place. It's easier just to re-navigate into the content folder of your project and then say export all. What I'm going to type in the file name is just stuff. So that's going to export. Hopefully that's done that. I'm going to go back to my projects and see. So once again, the change to source content has been detected. I'm going to click import. It's going to bring up the options. I'm going to say import all, and they have now appeared in my projects. Once again, I get messages here. So I've got stuff, and it's separated them out into stuff torus and stuff helix. Again, I'm going to drag that into my scene. And again, it doesn't seem to be there, and that is definitely because it is very small. Maya works on very different sizes to Unreal, so the thing that I'm going to need to do is to stretch it massively. I could have scaled it up in Maya to the right sort of size before I imported it if I wanted to, but I didn't. So that's the helix, and we've got the torus as well. Just going to scale that up. There we go. So we've got a whole lot of assets that have come from various places into our project. I'm just going to go into the project and look around at these assets. So what have we got as a quick recap? We've got a sphere, which we brought in from the basic objects. We've got a settee, which was part of the starter content. We've got this lamp here, which was taken from the Unreal Marketplace. We've got our chair and our rug, which are untextured at the moment, which have been brought in from exported from a project and migrated into this project. And finally, we got we've got a toothbrush model that we sourced from TurboSquid, and we've got our self-created models here. We've got a helix and a torus, which came from Maya. So as you can see, it's some of the processes take a few steps, but actually getting different models into your scene from various different sources is actually relatively easy. So there we go. That's the end of this video.